Hello, I'm Jonathan Farron. Today I want to talk to you about something that is relevant to everybody, but might not feel important to you unless you are my age. I'm 30, close to my age or older, and you'll definitely know what I'm talking about in a minute. But as you can see from the title, Back in Business. Well, what does that have to do with age? It's not so much the business I want to focus on, but the back. Um, Taking care of your back in a business setting. That might seem odd, but um, if you're my age, 30, close to it, or older, you'll you'll feel that your back aches more than it should, probably, or other parts of your body ache more than they should, particularly in the mornings when you get up. If you're younger and you don't feel this yet, oh, miss those days. But you will get to this point eventually. But depending on how closely you follow this and try to implement it, will determine how long it takes for that to really settle in. You can save yourself a lot of unnecessary discomfort and pain unless you try to apply what I want to talk about today. Um, the big thing is posture. And we'll go over some numbers of why this is relevant to so many people. And then we'll talk about what bad posture looks like, what it does, and then how to correct that with good posture and prolong or even lessen your back pain. So let's start off with some numbers. According to the American Heart Association, 80% of jobs in the US are sedentary or inactive or sitting. You are sitting at a desk or sitting in some sort of setting. 80% of the jobs are like that. 20% are construction or any kind of related job like that where you're up and about, moving around, physically active all day long. So your chances of getting a sedentary type of job are pretty high. And I would dare say that if you are in a business presentation class, you're basically going to spend some time at a desk, at least, if not all or most of it. To go with this, a study that was published in the JAMA Medical Journal, um, they did a survey of 6,000 people, and to see they had them sit down and figure out how many hours a day they sit. Between work, driving to and from work, watching TV, throughout their 24-hour period day, how much time they spend sitting. And as you can see, 22% said they sat for more than 8 hours a day. 30% said they sat from anywhere from 6 to 8 hours. So more than half of the people surveyed said they sit for roughly 8 hours a day, 6 to 8 hours a day or more. And that's a third of your life. That's a third of your day, therefore a third of your life. You spend just as much time sleeping as you do sitting. So if you're going to spend a third of your life doing something, you probably want to pay attention to it and make sure that you're getting the most out of it. And to go along with that, we won't get too deep into it, but we do want to bring it up because it does go along really well with this subject and is also a large problem. This is the same graph as before, but added in are your level of activity. So moving back is how many hours a day you sit, and then side to side is how active you are. And as you can see here on the left, inactive is really high. So most people surveyed don't do anything. And by active, I mean going to the gym, playing a sport regularly, something besides just sitting or standing. Doing something that's physically demanding. I mean, going to the shopping mall isn't as active as we'd like. So, like I said, we won't talk about it too much, but we do want to make note of it because it does. There's a lot of diseases. They call them chair diseases that arise basically from just sitting all the time, all day, every day, and not doing much else. But today, I want to focus on the spine and how to take care of it. As you can see from the diagram here, your spine is made up from the bones, the big white chunks, your vertebrae, and between each vertebrae is a cushion called the meniscus disc. And running through that yellow line is your spinal cord. So as you can see from the middle disc in your back, if it gets pinched on, it loses its disc shape, and then it starts to bulge into the spinal cord. If you look closely, you can see that it's pushing on your spinal cord, which causes your back pain, or will cause your back pain if you're not quite there yet. It'll happen. So having your spine not in the shape that it's meant to be in will push on these discs, which force them to flatten out and eventually bulge out into your spinal cord, causing you back pain. So when it comes to sitting, what I really want to emphasize today, how does that work on your back? As you can see from this lady here, she's working at her computer, and she's kind of slumped over, looking at her computer. I mean, she's kind of got her head up a little bit, but for the most part, she's just kind of slumped, looking at her computer. You can see from that facial expression, she's not excited about what she's doing. But as you can see from the pain points, just above right across your waistline, above your hips, and on your back, is where one pain point is. And you can, if you're my age, you can kind of tell that, yeah, it does hurt in that area. And if you're younger, slouch forward real bad and just see how uncomfortable that feels, as well as between your shoulder blades. Just kind of cran your neck down like this, or even down like this. You'll notice this if you spend a lot of time on your phone and it's in your lap and you're looking down on it. After a while, you realize, oh, that hurts my neck and my back. It's the same problem, only with a phone, it's even more emphasized because you've got your head all the way down looking into your lap. So this is the primary poor posture position that most people tend to adapt. I mean, think about how you're watching this video. If you're watching on a computer, you're probably bent forward looking at it, or unless you're falling asleep. Or if you're looking at it on your phone, you're probably sitting in kind of a reclined position, but your head is down looking at it. So, and you'll notice after a while, it really gets uncomfortable. And you have to move, stretch, whatever. But as you can see, this is the proper way to sit, or at least the way your spine should be shaped when you're sitting. It has that S shape. So when you're crammed down, that top part of your spine is bent forward more into a T shape instead of that nice, smooth S curve. And since it's bent forward like that, it's crushing the disc right here and pushing it back into your spinal cord. Even standing, you slouch while you're standing, it pushes on those discs right there, and you can kind of feel it. But you definitely feel it more and more as you get older. So take care when you're standing, sitting, that you have your shoulders back and your head up, and try to get things when you look at them such you're not looking down at them so much. And then the lower part of your back, when you slouch forward, it pushes the lower part of your back. So you have your spine shaped as an S. It pushes your spine back into your chair, which crushes the discs right here. You're pinching them back on them like that and causing your back pain. So it's sort of a little guideline of how to sit properly, particularly at a computer. This is very relevant to me because I just started a job where I'm going to be spending a lot of time at a computer. This is how I keep from causing more back pain for me when I'm getting on in my years, quote unquote. And this has some degrees to keep in mind. So you notice how this man sitting. He has his head straight, looking at his computer. He's not down looking at it, but he's straight and just looking down slightly with his eyes. And then his arms are in kind of a looser 90-degree angle, as well as his knees. His back, while in a 90-degree angle at this point, is recommended between 90 and 128 degrees, where you can't really go, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95. And as you can tell, I'm leaning back further. Reclined slightly, but not bent forward. You want to be reclined slightly, but not bent forward. And doing these things will help keep your spine in that S shape. Make sure you have good support on that lower back to kind of dissuade you from slumping. I have a little pillow for my desk to let me sit here and work without damaging my back too much. And I try to actually have my laptop up a little higher than it is right now, but so I'm not looking down so much at it. But keep these things in mind, that you are very likely to spend a lot of your day sitting, particularly if you are chasing a business career. Know that slouching is really hard on your back. Try to avoid it when you're sitting, even just to finish off this video. Look up. If you're on your phone, try to have it more up on your face instead of down on your lap, because then it cranes your neck and hurts your spine there. Keep these things in mind, and if it's really having trouble, consult a professional on it. But after a while, I've tried to take more notice of this when I'm doing things, and my back doesn't trouble me nearly as much as I used to. And so hopefully over time, it'll significantly reduce my back pain, and it'll hopefully do the same for you. But again, consult a professional. And if you're lucky enough to not have to deal with this yet, please do it now. Break the bad habits of how you sit and how you stand before it gets to be too much and you start to have that back pain. And it'll come. It won't feel like it right now, but it will come. So thank you for watching this video, and please try to practice this and see the kind of difference that it makes. At the very least, it's not making your back pain any worse because you're sitting the way that you're supposed to. Thank you.